When people think of the Irish countryside, they imagine rolling green pastures covered with sheep and cows and separated by stone walls. And they're not wrong. But about 14% of Ireland is covered by peat bogs. These are lands that have been collecting decaying plant matter since the retreat of the ice sheets over 10,000 years ago. Under a covering of scrub, there's a layer of peat 2 to 7 meters deep. But what is peat, or what the Irish more commonly call turf? I think of it like baby soggy coal. It looks like very dark dirt. It has a high carbon content and burns pretty well once it's dried out. By itself, it's poor soil, but it's commonly used as an amendment since it does a good job of holding water. In Ireland, it's been used as a fuel for centuries. Many farmers have an allotment, an area of a bog, where they are allowed to cut the turf into pieces by hand in the spring and let it dry during the summer. In the fall, the logs are taken home to be burned in the turf stove seen in every farmhouse. I've had many a pot of tea from water boiled on such a stove. The smell of burning turf on a chilly evening is probably the most Irish thing possible. From Hong Kong to Johannesburg, you can go to an Irish pub and get a passable pint of Guinness. But I've never been anywhere that has the distinctive smell of burning turf. You can actually buy turf incense. I'm guessing the target market is Irish emigrants who miss the smell of home. The harvesting of turf in the traditional manner is depicted in this excerpt of the poem Digging by Nobel laureate Seamus Heany, here read by the poet himself.
My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf. Digging.
But there's a dark side to burning turf. It's about the dirtiest fuel you can use. It's so dirty that switching to coal is a significant improvement. Turf emits more CO2 than coal, plus other pollution that impacts air quality and health, plus the destruction of the boglands. But if you don't count the significant amount of labor it takes to harvest turf, it's the cheapest way to heat your home. Heat pumps work great, but Ireland has some of the most expensive electricity in Europe, and the cost to install a heat pump is prohibitive for most rural households, even with government support. But the amount of turf harvested in the traditional manner is a drop of rain in the wetland compared to industrial harvesting using modern machines. During much of the last century, Ireland was harvesting millions of tons of peat every year. In the 1950s, Ireland started burning turf to generate electricity. At its peak, we were generating 290 megawatts of electricity just from burning dirt. In 2019, 23% of the carbon dioxide emissions from the electricity sector came from burning peat, even though it was responsible for less than 5% of Ireland's electricity. So clearly, if Ireland was going to have any hope of hitting our greenhouse gas emission targets, peat was the best place to start. Indeed, that's exactly what's happened. In 2019, Lord Namona, the quasi-public company responsible for the turf harvest, ceased commercial harvesting of peat, and Ireland no longer uses it to generate electricity, replaced primarily with methane, but increasingly with wind power, as we see in this plot of the indigenous energy production from the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland's Energy in Ireland 2022 report. The production of peat dropped to nearly nothing in 2020. The jump in 2016 in gas production was due to the connection of the Corbig gas field to the Irish grid. And we see the increase in renewables, primarily wind. This is not just about electricity. In the past, you could purchase peat briquettes at a hardware store or gas station to heat your home and cook your food. But since the commercial harvest of turf is ended, people who can't harvest their own turf have to settle for smokeless coal or dry wood. These aren't the best solutions, but they're both a big improvement over burning soggy baby coal. I suspect that harvesting turf the traditional way will continue for years to come, and from a climate and bog health issue, it's probably sustainable. But air quality in rural areas does suffer from the burning of turf, but not so much that it's driving an end to the practice. I expect that the transition from turf, coal, and wood to cleaner electricity heating with heat pumps will be slow and require cheaper electricity to really take off. Now Bordnona is focused on restoring Ireland's bogs to where they can return to their natural state of storing carbon. Ireland getting off turf for electricity production and heating is a big win and the great news for these fragile habitats. If you've learned something, you can like and subscribe, and you can support my channel by buying me a pint. Since you made it to the end of the video, you might find this one on the Irish electrical grid interesting. This will be critical for the adoption of electricity for home heating. And please share this video with everyone you know who has enjoyed a pot of tea in a farmhouse heated with turf.